Hello YouTube, what is going on? It's your boy GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be discussing the the season 2 finale, which obviously the show doesn't go in any descending, condescending, whatever order, but it was still dropped around like the same time as the other episode, so I guess we'll talk about it as that. It's White Christmas. Crazy storytelling. I mean, I got a lot to say about this. This video might not be a lot, might not be a long video, but I have quite a bit to say about this episode. It's a pretty good one. We're going to do the plot, the critical reception, kind of bounce my thoughts off of others, and yeah, that's going to be it. Again, sorry, if you didn't watch my Walking Dead video a couple minutes ago, I'm in a new setup, so it's only temporary. Tomorrow will be normal, so there you have it. So on Christmas Day, Joe Potter, played by Rafe Spall, and Matt Trent, played by John Hamm, who have lived together in a cabin for 5 years that barely spoke, and ease into conversation, beginning with Matt explaining why he ended up in the cabin. So they're kind of getting to their background stories, having been with each other in this cabin for 5 years. It's such a crazy storyline, and Black Mirror always introduces these crazy dilemmas, these crazy hypotheticals. I mean, the show creators have some wondrous minds. I mean, for sure. He used to run an online group of men who watched each other seduce women through Z eyes, which is some more tech. Obviously, this show is like a modern science, maybe even futuristic at times, science fiction show, and they explore the possibilities of what could be made in society. The Z eyes are implants that transmit the user's vision and hearing, similar to a lot of other devices we have seen throughout the show. One member, Harry, played by Rasmus Hardiker, crashed an office Christmas party and met the mentally ill Jennifer, played by Natalia Tena, and we'll realize that her character is very sick and twisted, who mistook Harry's communication with the group for auditory hallucinations similar to her own, which is kind of crazy. These people are some really weird people. These aren't ordinary situations. The show never sets up for ordinary situations. They always go above and beyond what other shows would do, and obviously that's the appeal of the show. That's what people like about it. It always takes a different direction. Some of the endings are obviously expected at times, but yeah. She subsequently invited him home and poisoned them both in a murder-suicide. She put something in their drinks and pretty much killed both of them because she drank it herself. And Harry was trying to get personal with her on this certain front and try to get a date with her, get laid, not even necessarily have a relationship, but she took it too far, and she's like, yeah, these people are pieces of shit. So yeah, but it's crazy, man. Matt then discusses his former job training cookies, digital clones of people stored in an egg-shaped object as personal assistants. Again, another crazy breakthrough in technology that this universe has. Even though, it's not really a universe. None of them really coincide, but yeah. He describes the experience of Greta's, played by Una Chaplin's, Cookie, which refused to be a personal assistant, only to relent once Matt made 6 months pass in the Cookie's world in a matter of seconds. So yeah, he pretty much forced her to sit and do nothing for 6 months, and obviously that time lapsed for him because he's not going to sit there and do nothing for 6 months with her. It's such a crazy concept. You can't even explain it. You can't even conceptualize it. How can you even think of these things? It's so impressive. Joe opens up. So Joe, the other guy in the cabin, kind of talks about his beginnings, and obviously his beginnings were more dark and it's crazy. Matt kind of has a more in control origin story, while Joe just kind of gets shut out. And he was blocked by his fiancée Beth, played by Janet Montgomery, after the two fought over her decision to have an abortion, causing them to see each other as gray silhouettes and preventing him from contacting her, which is the blocked is a whole concept where you gray the person out and pretty much phase them out of your life and ignore them. Months later, Joe confronted her still pregnant silhouette and was arrested. Yeah, he keeps trying to go back. He's the obsessive ex. But, I don't know. This guy had some good intentions. You hear his story and you kind of have, some sympathy for it. Each Christmas Eve, Joe traveled to Beth's father's house to secretly watch Beth and her daughter, to whom the block extends. Obviously, he can't see these people. They're just silhouettes playing in the yard. And obviously, the silhouettes let him know that that's his wife and daughter, at least. But yeah, at least that's distinctive. At least you can like still see them, just not their like face, and not make any connections with them. The block was removed after Beth died in a train accident, allowing Joe to discover that the girl is the product of an affair. And the block gets erased. He sees this girl as like this Asian girl, obviously looks like nothing he would produce, like he would have kids with. And he's like, well, shit, she was with another man. Sorry about that sound. Joe bludgeoned Beth's father to death with a snow globe and fled, leaving the girl to wander into the snowy wilderness to find help, where she froze to death. Yeah, it's a really shitty thing of him to do, and obviously he feels very fucked up about it. But he did it kind of out of a fit of rage, and it's not really justifiable, per se, but man, it's a really fucked up thing. This child gets left to freeze to death. So while Joe tells the story, the cabin gradually transforms into Beth's father's house. Now there's like some like technology behind this, or some like torture. They're trying to work in old memories to like remind him and to punish criminals. It's almost like the White Bear episode. It's like that same type of idea of how to like properly, or how we could very effectively punish criminals. So yeah. It is revealed that Joe and Matt are in a cookie, the 5 years resulting from altered perception of time, and Joe is a cookie that is just given testimony which will be used to convict the real Joey. So, them telling their stories is pretty much him confessing. So, it's freaking crazy. This concept is wild. The things wrap up in a really wild way. For his service, Matt avoids imprisonment for his role in Harry's death, but he is now registered as a sex offender and permanently blocked by everyone, because he's pretty much harassing this guy. He's pretty much getting this guy to do stuff that, not necessarily that he doesn't want to, but things that are going to lead to his demise, pretty much. He pretty much set him up with a sexual encounter. Meanwhile, an officer sets Joe's cookie to experience time at 1,000 years per minute with Wizard's I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, which played as Joe killed Beth's father on repeat. So it's kind of like a PTSD kind of inducing like punishment that they have for the rest of his life, and it's just wild. Like, I can't even explain something like that. But yeah, this episode's pretty freaking good. Let me see. It's good. A lot of people like it. I want to use some reviews here to kind of discuss my thoughts as well. 8.5 out of 10 on IGN, 4 out of 5 on the Telegraph, B+ on the AV Club. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 90% with 20 reviews. It's neither the strongest nor weakest episode of Black Mirror. It's kind of a middle ground for a lot of people, but that doesn't make it a bad episode. It's still pretty good. It's striking and memorable. Each bit of technology, each little concept. I mean, think about it. This episode is like 3 storylines combined into one. Each storyline introduces technology. It's fascinating enough to warrant entire entries on their own right. Like, some of these should have got their own episodes, like these stories, and maybe do like a movie out of it. That would have been cool for the show to do, but obviously they only do episode format. The cookies mechanics were kind of a misstep, but the other ones for sure were great. The episode is to be of the episodes, like, to that point, the most in-depth and harrowing exploration of how technology affects our relationships. Like, no other episode in this show so far, I don't think, has really gone that deep, and it's really interesting. The cast was great. Ellen Jones and Krupa, the casting, the acting were great. Spall shines brightest with the full depth of his misery. Ham was great as well. It's chilling how much the reader is drawn into Ham's way of thinking, or like the watcher, the viewer. What the hell am I talking about? I was kind of tired slightly of Joe's moroseness over the course of the episode. Jennifer is more of a punchline than a character. I do agree. I did not like Jennifer's character all that much. The other two in the cabin were great, though. I mean, obviously, the characters involved with their schemes and their things, like their actions and their past, weren't supposed to be as important. But yeah, the structure was excellent. I mean, I think it was great. So much of the episode's pleasure derives from seeing its disparate elements connect and intersect. The repetition of technologies and ideas from previous episodes was left a little bit to be desired. The episode maintained an efficient, unceasing suspense with the questions raised about Matt and Joe. The 3 stories don't quite add up to 2 more than the sum of their parts. I one half guessed Joe's situation while I was watching it. I mean, the storyline threads were neatly, nightmarishly not tied up by the end. The final story ties all the elements of the previous episode, like the previous hour of the episode, with deft efficiency and unblinking bleakness. The episode was thematically satisfying, eminently watchable, narratively thrilling, and never preachy. So, yeah, it never really tries to send a message. It just kind of shows what could happen if these things existed. And I feel like these sorts of sentiments could be echoed throughout the entire show, and that's kind of the point of the show. But anyways, I don't really have much to say. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the videos, talking through some TV shows and all that stuff. We're getting ready to end Walking Dead and Dexter, so I'm thinking about starting the Sopranos show and Ozark. Those are the 2 next shows that I'm planning. Those should be coming, when I'm at school and when I'm in my college setup. So that'll be nice. The videos are going to get better quality with the PC as well, as I announced in the last video. So with that, I'm out, guys.